Into the Fog is a year-round podcast dedicated to covering Halloween Horror Nights Orlando.
From speculation season and announcements to opening night and the final screams of the event, we break down everything HHN.
Follow along for weekly discussions, rumors, news, and all things Halloween Horror Nights. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Into the Fog, an HHN podcast. I'm your host, Woody, and with me, as always, my co-host, Dustin.
What's going on, guys? To reach us at our socials, you can catch us at Into the Fog Pod on both IG and TikTok, and Into the Fog HHN on X and YouTube. So, Woody, tell me how we got here to starting our own podcast.
We wanted to jump into and take the next step of fandom into the content creation and podcast game of our favorite event of the year, HHN. Just to give y'all a little background about us, I've been going to the event for about 4 years now. Yes, I know that's a lot shorter than a lot of people who have been attending since the beginning, but I've done my homework over past years and really did a deep dive into all the lore and the history of the HHN and all of the event. Pretty much. Dustin, what about you, bud?
For me, I've only been going for about 2 years, with this coming year being my third. I went a few times when I was a kid back in the day, but back then I couldn't fully understand what I was exposed to past going into a few haunted houses, and I feel like going as a guy in your 30s makes you appreciate a whole lot more than just going into a dark house getting scared.
So, tell the listeners why or what made you go to this event and want to keep coming back.
Me personally, I've always enjoyed scary movies, local haunted houses, forests, and things like that. But you invited me 2 years ago. I didn't really know what to expect, but after my first trip back, I was hooked. First and foremost, I thought this going into it was going to be fun, get to go through a few houses with my friends and have a blast, but it was just way more than that. It had an atmosphere in its own league, from the scare zones to the shows to just watching all different types of fans interactions. It was like everyone was in unison, united in a way. With it like that, the houses were a bonus to me. Ever since the first year, I look forward to the next as soon as we get into the car to go home.
Same. Well, for me, it's actually really a funny story. Me and my wife, we were offered a timeshare, and we decided we were going to go at the end of October. And 2 weeks prior, we had went to Disney. So we were like, let's try Universal. Well, my wife, she looked up Universal and seen that Halloween Horror Nights was going on. So we're like, let's just give that a try and see what it's all about. And I mean, the moment we walked in, seeing that first introduction scare zone and just seeing just the atmosphere throughout the park, it was just, we're just hooked ever since. Like, I've gone every year since that first year. We only went for a day that year, and it's just crazy. Now I go for a week to almost a week and a half at a time.
Your all-time favorite house, what would it be and why?
Mine is Blood Moon from HHN 32. It is by far my favorite house of all time. Not only did it have good scares, like the church scene, where you don't know which figure on the pews is real or a mannequin until it's too late. And then it's just so scenic when you walk through. Like, you can look through a window when you're walking through the house and see scenes that you walk through later down the road. And it's just so, I don't want to say scenic, but it puts you into like the old parish town and the Salem witch era. But that house, it was created and designed by Dylan Koloff, who he also created other houses like El Artista from this past year, Goblin's Feast, Dead Man's Pier. He's also doing the Jack and Oddfellow Chaos and Control that's coming up here at HHN 35. And y'all can tune in next episode and we'll talk spec and go and do a further deep dive into that announcement. But basically, any house by Dylan Koloff is going to be awesome scenes and just probably just well built it's he's just all around great. What about you, D? What's your favorite house?
So it sounds like it just makes you feel a part of the houses that he builds. So I
Absolutely.
I
It
hate that I missed out on that because I ended up going the next year.
it just puts you into that space. Like it's crazy how you can just like you feel like you're there, like you're walking through that time period or that area. Like in Dead Man's Pier, you thought you were in like New England. Like you could smell the salt in the air coming from like the water and the ocean and stuff. It's crazy.
So kind of the same sentiment. Even though I've had a small sample size, but my favorite house would have the same kind of characteristics. But I'd have to say Insidious. One from a nostalgic perspective, I've always been a huge fan of the Insidious series. It's probably my
Yes.
all-time favorite horror movie. Just from the pure fact that you could definitely relate to paranormal fear with a person outside of haunted houses or scare movies. Like some people actually believe those things happen, and who am I to tell them they're any different? I mean,
Yeah.
the setup I felt like fully captured about as best you could to show anyone who has never seen the movies what to expect if you were to watch it. From the red door to all the paranormal atmosphere that it causes, it really just brings the horror and reality to a head where you can't really decide or depict what is real and what's part of the haunted house.
Yeah.
Um,
Facts.
but if I had to pick a close second, just from a pure aesthetic and overall how they built the house, I would have to say El Artiste, which both of those houses were from HHN 34 last year. Um,
No, Insidious was 33.
was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was 2 years ago.
Okay, so 33 Insidious would be my favorite. El Artiste from 34. I feel like Jason probably could have went up there for me in 34 just because I grew up and that was probably the first scary movie I watched. But I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on building it, and it could just
Yeah.
be poor timing or poor scare actors in the house itself.
Nah, the scare actors are always great, but that house in particular, it was just like
Or maybe too much
this.
going on at once. Like there was
Yeah, it was
too
just
many.
like it tried to copy Insidious, like with the red curtain room, where the scare actor had like 3 or 4 different boo holes, and it just didn't work. It just a long hallway. So if you weren't getting the scares, then you could see like the person in front of you where they're popping out. So it really just didn't work because you're like, oh, he's gonna be on my right. Oh, he's gonna be on my left. Oh, he's back on my right. So that's
And maybe from where the two houses differ, Insidious and Jason, the lighting and the I guess the layout of the scenes may played a big difference because Jason there was definitely a lot more light, whereas Insidious was it's
eh,
dark at most parts, so they could
yeah.
hide some inconsistencies better in Insidious than they could in
That
Jason.
the Insidious, it had the like the zigzag motion, like a Z kind of, where
Kind
like
of.
you bounce off of one, and by the time you turn the corner, you're getting hit by another. But Jason, it was just like a long hallway, like it was just a straight line. But that's also because it was in Fast and Furious location, so they got a lot of limitations of what they can do with that.
Yeah.
But El Artista is definitely a top tier house. It had every ghost effect that they've ever done in HHN history, like the Pepper's Ghost, stuff like that. And just like it, and just how you, when we walk through the courtyard, we turn that corner and we're in the courtyard, you feel like you're outside. They have a whole fountain just running in the middle. And then you had the gargoyle flying over you. It's just crazy how they can fit so much stuff into them those kind of houses like that. Not only scenic, and it's just like it had a couple of good scares too. Like Insidious is a whole nother level of scary
Oh,
because
for sure.
yeah, that house by itself is probably all time like one of the scariest houses they have ever created. Just
Oh,
because you were just constantly getting like somebody in your face. It was relentless. If I had to say, yeah,
yeah. I don't think there was any pause period. I mean,
yeah.
there
There's
was
like
like
no
no
downtime where you could look around. It was just always like popping out at you, popping out at you.
exactly, and maybe that's it. There's more cutoffs, more blind spots in Insidious with the zigzag matrix. Whereas, like you said, Jason has a long hallway. So, I mean, if you happen to not have good timing, then you kind of get an unfortunate run. But to me, the wait time for a house like that is way too
Yeah.
long for the results you got.
Yeah, especially if you don't have express. Like, if no express, that 2 hour, 180 minutes, like
Yeah,
that line was grueling. But I mean, the one good thing was whenever Hanaphonic was going off, you get the mist coming into you, so you wouldn't be scorching hot sometimes.
exactly.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing about Blood Moon. It was in that first house slot. So from this past year, let's see, what was that? It was where in City, no, where El Artista was. That's where Blood Moon was.
And I felt like that where LRTs and now you said that Blood Moon was that, and then the other slots up front always end up whether it's expected to have a good house or not. Those always seem to bang when it
And
comes to HHN, and I don't know if it's location,
see,
infrastructure, how they can lay it out.
it's Dylan Koloff. He built both of those houses, and I like. It's just he's one of the best designers of a house. Like, he builds it. He doesn't write the stories. Like, El Artista was written by Ramon, but Dylan brought it to life. Like, it's just you. As soon as you walk in that soundstage, you turn that corner and you see a whole house for El Artista. Like, you're walking into the manor. It's just crazy. And Blood Moon was like the same way. You walk into like a courtyard and it's red lighted because it's a blood moon, and you see like it's like a bell tower, and there's a man up there ringing the bell, signaling that the blood, and you can see throughout the whole town just in that one little starting area. It's crazy.
And it necessarily can't be the location because it sounds like he also made Goblin's Feast, which was in the back of the park, and
And
that was
that's a
also a
smaller
banger.
tent, and that was it was a banger. It was a smaller tent, but it was still like you were transported into like an Irish pub. It was like Thanksgiving for the goblins, basically.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy how they can just create something and you just hop right like through a portal and you're there. It's just crazy.
Hopefully we'll get a couple good ones this year since it sounds like he's gonna be making a couple.
But yeah, he's making Jack and Oddfellow Chaos and Control. That's the only house that's been announced. It's going to be great. I'm probably personally I'm Team Oddfellow, but
Which next episode we'll do a bigger deep dive into the houses that have been announced, speculation maps. But moving forward, if you could pick any scare zone, what would it be? And for me, 100% enter the Blumhouse. And maybe that's because I've had a small sample size, only going 2 years. It captures several of my favorite scary movies, so I felt like a lot of the fandom and nostalgia came out, and maybe the other scare zone I didn't understand what I was actually seeing.
Yeah, it's that house. It's kind of a hot take. A lot of people in the community did not like that house just because it was it was like a sellout zone. Like, so you had all the Blumhouse characters. That's all it is, and it's just because that's what everybody likes. So all the crowds tend to go there, and it turns into a bottleneck. It's a lot of the reason why people didn't like it. But I mean, it was great because like if you like your favorite characters, they brought it and you got to physically see them in front of you, not like just on the screen. It's just great stuff. But for me, I personally I don't really have a favorite. Most of them are great. But if I had to choose, like Nine Cricket Lane from this past year, Masquerade, Demon Queens, and I really like the San Francisco area. That's probably that in New York or Central Park is probably my favorite area. New York is okay. Like, I didn't really like the Toxic 20s from this past year. It kind of didn't fit with the whole theme throughout the park. Like, everything else was tied in but that. So it was like the redheaded stepchild. It's just
I enjoyed Central Park.
Yeah, with the pumpkins in the trees, Nine Cricket Lane.
Yeah, it just only going 2 years. I just don't really. To me, especially the first year, it was just something to walk through and watch other park growers get scared. So I really wasn't paying attention to too many details, especially year one. Last year, I paid a little bit more attention.
Year one, what was it? The zombies, the swambies is what they call them. The swamp scare zone that was in Central Park.
Hmm.
Yeah, that we sat there right there at the tables and ate dinner and stuff and watched people just get obliterated by zombies. Just,
Yeah, hopefully this year we'll have a few more to
yeah,
be able to deep dive into and actually appreciate it.
there on the speculation now. There's some, if what they say is coming is true, then there's three good ones and one that's kind of controversial.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe next episode we can go further into that.
yeah, well, we definitely will. But that's gonna be a wrap from us, y'all. This is just our intro, trying to explain who we are, what got us into the vent, and there'll be plenty more to come. But thank y'all for listening. If y'all like what you heard, just be sure to follow us on all our social medias, and we'll keep y'all updated.
All right, goodbye, everyone.